Good morning, everyone. We are Group 5. Today, I will introduce our topic, Ideological Framing and Information Disorder in TikTok's Security Discourse. Our group mainly focused on a CNN article about TikTok. This article discussed concerns about TikTok's data security, Chinese ownership, and possible influence on American users. It is worth to analyzing because some of its language is emotional and ideological, which makes shape readers' understanding before they fully evaluate the facts. We also use a Reuters article as a short comparison. Instead of judging whether TikTok is truly dangerous, our presentation asks how journalist language can influence public understanding of these issues. To answer this, we focus on semantic forming, emotionally loaded language, ideological rhetoric, and information disorder. We use close reading and discourse analysis with Reuters as a natural comparison. This is introduction part. Thank you.
In Section 1, I will examine how language influences audience understanding before factual evidence is critically evaluated, and I will focus on the following three parts. Next page. First, I would like to discuss the headline of CNN, TikTok is digital fentanyl, incoming GOP China committee chair says. This is one of the strongest examples of metaphorical framing in this article. The key point here is the word is rather than like. CNN does not compare TikTok to fentanyl. Instead, the wording creates a direct semantic equivalence between them. In other words, TikTok is symbolically reconstructed as something dangerous and socially harmful. This metaphor is particularly powerful because fentanyl is strongly associated with addiction, overdose, and social harm in the American context. Next page. Next, let us look at the phrase highly addictive and destructive. This reflects loaded emotional wording. Rather than functionally separately, these two negative descriptors work together to create what we call cumulative semantic intensification. The word addictive suggests personal dependency and loss of control. Then, the word destructive expands the concern to a wider social level. Together, the wording transforms TikTok from a platform issue into a socially harmful force. More importantly, the article presents this description with certainty instead of cautious language such as may be harmful or could contribute to cancers. This may encourage audiences to accept the definition before critically evaluating supporting evidence. Next. Finally, I would like to discuss the phrase, China's government is providing to Americans. This wording constructs what we identify as hostile agency construction. Instead of simply describing TikTok as a Chinese-owned platform, CNN frames China's government as an active actor through the word providing. This wording reinforces a geopolitical threat narrative. As a result, audience may interpret TikTok not only as a technology platform, but also a foreign national threat. Next page. In conclusion, CNN semantically reconstructs TikTok as an addictive, destructive, and geopolitical threat through metaphorical framing, emotionally loaded wording, and hostile agency construction. That's all for my part.
So in this section, I will analyze how the CNN article uses propaganda techniques and ideological framing to construct TikTok as a social and geopolitical threat. Specifically, I will discuss these four parts. First, the article uses the propaganda technique of name calling. TikTok is described using highly negative labels, such as digital fentanyl, addictive, and destructive. These labels simply complex issue into a moral judgment and encourage audience to react emotionally before evaluating evidence. Second, the article uses transfer propaganda. By describing TikTok as digital fentanyl, the article transfers existing public fears associated with the opioid crisis onto the platform. As a result, TikTok becomes linked to addiction, social harm, and public danger before readers find specific evidence about national security concerns. The article also demonstrates card staking. In the first half of the article, CNN repeatedly highlights terms related to addiction, censorship, and national security threats. This cumulative negative framing gradually constructs TikTok as a dangerous ideological threat. However, the article only later mentions that there is no evidence. As a result, emotional framing appears before factual moderation, which may strengthen audience fear and suspicion before balanced information is introduced. Finally, the article uses code word symbolism and geopolitical framing. The comparison to KGB and proved by the New York Times is not based on factual evidence. Instead, it symbolically connects TikTok with Soviet propaganda, communist influence, and foreign infiltration. This framing activates historical memories and encourages audience to view TikTok not simply as a social media platform, but as a potential geopolitical threat. Overall, the article illustrates how propaganda techniques can shape public perception by prioritizing emotional associations and symbolically meaning alongside factual discussion. That's all of my part.
In section 3, I will compare how CNN and Reuters report the TikTok issue and how their language influenced readers' understanding of the topic. First, from the perspective of general semantics, CNN and Reuters use very different language styles. CNN shows a more intentional orientation. It uses expressions such as digital fentany and aerosol impact, which encourage readers to see TikTok as a potential social and political threat. In contrast, Reuters shows a more extensional orientation. It describes TikTok as a Chinese-owned short video app and focuses more on facts, policy discussion, and official statement. Next. Secondly, these language choices position readers in different ways. CNN encourages readers to think about possible future risks through reference to CCP control, KGB, and Pravda, and questions about censorship. As a result, readers may begin to associate TikTok with national security concerns. Reuters, however, focused on evidence, policy discussions, and official responses. This allows readers to evaluate the issue based on factual information rather than speculation. Next. Finally, from the perspective of information disorder, this case shows that information disorder doesn't always come from completely false information. CNN uses speculative questions and political comparisons that may influence how readers interpret the issue. The comparisons with KGB and Pravda can create a false connection, while the hypothetical questions may encourage readers to focus on possible risks before sufficient evidence is provided. Although CNN later states that there is no evidence that these actions have actually occurred, the earlier framing may already have shaped audience interpretation. Overall, this comparison shows that information disorder can arise not only from false information, but also from the way information is framed, presented, and interpreted. That's all.
Now I will present section 4, ethical reconstruction. My part focuses on how these problematic expressions can be rewritten in a more neutral and responsible way. There are three main ideas: extensional orientation, which means focusing on observable issues; interpretive balance, which means giving readers space to judge; and ethical wording, which means using clear and less emotional language. Next. The first example is the headline, TikTok is digital fentanyl. A more ethical rewrite is US lawmaker raises concerns about TikTok's influence and data security. The version is better because it doesn't directly define TikTok as a dangerous object. It also removes the fear-based metaphor and focuses on clear issues such as influence and data security. This gives readers more space to judge this issue calmly. Next. The second example is China's government is providing to Americans. A more ethical rewrite is Gallagher expressed concern regarding possible Chinese influence over TikTok. This version is better because it shows this is Gallagher's concern, not a confirmed fact. The word possible also keeps the meaning more careful. It separates speculation from fact and reduces the sense of direct hostility. The same logical can apply to other loaded expressions, which should be changed into more evidence-based concerns. Next. Reuters gives a more balanced example. It focuses on facts, policy procedures, and data security issues instead of using fear-based language. From this, ethical journalism should separate evidence from speculation, avoid coercive metaphors, reduce ideological dramatization, and preserve reader agency. In simple words, used language should help readers understand, not push them too quickly toward fear. Next. To conclude, information disorder is not only caused by false information, it can also be created through semantic framing. In this case, CNN uses emotional wording to frame TikTok as a threat, while Reuters shows a more balanced way to report the same issue. Therefore, responsible journalism needs ethical wording to protect interpretive balance and allow readers to make their own judgment. That's all. Thank you for listening.